Hi, I'm Aaliyah. Senior year was supposed to be my moment. After years of being the quiet girl who never made waves, I'd finally found my people, fallen for an amazing guy named Marcus, and even scored a spot on the prom committee. Everything was lining up perfectly, until it wasn't. Mom, I don't feel so good, I said, slumping against the kitchen counter one Tuesday morning, 3 weeks before prom. Mom glanced up from her coffee, her expression shifting from distraction to concern. What's wrong, honey? My throat is killing me, and I've got these weird bumps. I tilted my head to show her. That doesn't look good. Probably strep. She rummaged through our medicine cabinet. Here, I've got antibiotics left over from when Aunt Janine visited. Take these and you'll be fine for prom. Are you sure these are still good? I asked, examining the orange bottle. The label looks pretty worn. Of course they're fine, Mom said, waving away my concern. Medicine doesn't just go bad overnight. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. But didn't Dad always say to check expiration dates? I persisted, remembering how strict he'd been about medications. Your father isn't here anymore, is he? Mom snapped, then immediately softened. I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm just worried about you. Take the medicine and rest. My best friend Zoe narrowed her eyes when I showed her the pills at lunch. These look old. Are you sure they're good? Mom gave them to me, so I guess so. I popped one in my mouth. Your mom's been weird about prom, Zoe said, twirling her fork in her pasta. Ever since you told her Marcus was taking you. She just thinks I'm too young to date, I shrugged. Or maybe she's jealous, Zoe said. She never gets to go anywhere since your dad left. Come on, Zoe. She wouldn't sabotage her own daughter. I don't know, Zoe said, leaning closer. Remember how she accidentally deleted the photos of you and Marcus from your phone? Or how she scheduled that dentist appointment during your first date? Those were coincidences, I insisted, but a seed of doubt had been planted. My cousin Darius texted me the night before prom. How's that strep? You seemed worse yesterday. Worse. Fever's up. Mom says antibiotics take time. My mom's a nurse, remember? She says old antibiotics can lose potency. When did your mom get those? I stared at the text, a chill running through me despite my fever. Don't know? Why? Just checking. Get some sleep, cuz. I tried calling Mom into my room, but she claimed she was busy packing for her surprise weekend trip that had mysteriously materialized. Mom! I called, my voice barely a whisper. I think I need to go to the doctor. Something's really wrong. She appeared in my doorway, phone in hand. You're just nervous about tomorrow. Take another pill and get some rest. The next morning, prom day, I couldn't get out of bed. The room spun, my throat felt like glass, and my fever hit 103. Mom's voice sounded distant when she called the doctor, almost like she was reading from a script. I don't understand, I whispered, as paramedics loaded me into the ambulance. I took the medicine. The last thing I remember before the hospital was Mom saying, sometimes these things just happen, sweetie. Peritonsillar abscess, Dr. Weiss explained when I woke up. The infection spread because it wasn't treated properly. The antibiotics you were taking, they were expired by 2 years. 2 years? I croaked through my swollen throat. That can't be right. I'm afraid so. Your mother confirmed it when you were admitted. Did she know they were expired when she gave them to me? Dr. Weiss hesitated. I can't speculate on that. But expired antibiotics can be ineffective or even harmful. Could I have died? I asked, suddenly terrified. These infections can become serious if left untreated, she answered carefully. But you're getting proper care now. That's what matters. My phone buzzed with messages from Marcus and the prom committee. Pictures of everyone in their dresses and suits. Videos of the dance I was missing. And all because of expired medicine? Zoe visited the next day, sneaking in contraband ice cream. Your mom is acting strange, Allie. She keeps telling everyone how devastated she is that you missed prom. But she didn't even try to reschedule your appointment when they called yesterday to move it to prom night. What appointment? My heart thumped painfully. For her book club or something? I overheard her talking to Mrs. Davis. I scrolled through Mom's calendar on our shared family app. There's no book club, I said slowly. Check your text messages from when you first got sick, Zoe suggested, her voice unusually serious. There it was. Mom had texted Aunt Janine 3 weeks ago. Found those old antibiotics from your visit. Expiration date says 2023. Can I still use these? And Aunt Janine's response, absolutely not. Throw those out immediately. They can make infections worse. Why would she? My voice cracked. There's more, Zoe whispered, pulling up Instagram. A photo of Mom at a casino resort, posted on prom night with her new boyfriend, Steve. They've been planning this weekend getaway for months. How do you know that? Steve's daughter, Kelsey, is in my math class. She told me they booked this trip back in January. January, I whispered. That's when I told Mom about prom. Darius arrived as Zoe was leaving. Hey, cuz, he said, giving my foot a gentle tap through the hospital blanket. You look terrible. Thanks for the update, I said, attempting a smile. You figured it out, didn't you? He asked, sitting beside my bed. Mom didn't want me at prom, I said, the words hollow in my throat. She knew the medicine was expired. She wanted me sick. Allie, there's something else. Darius handed me his phone. I found this in your bathroom trash when I went to get your charger. It was a photo of an empty prescription bottle with my name on it. Unexpired antibiotics prescribed just 2 weeks ago. She had real medicine, I whispered. And she hid it. I talked to Marcus's mom, Darius said. She heard your mom telling someone that no daughter of hers was going to prom with some boy while she sat home alone. That doesn't even make sense, I said, tears welling. She wasn't going to be alone. She had this trip planned. I think it was more about controlling you than being alone, Darius said carefully. Ever since Uncle Rob left, she's been using you as her emotional support person. The nurse entered, checking my IV. Your throat's looking better. Doctor says maybe one more day. After she left, I turned to Darius. I need to understand why she'd do this. Some people, Darius said, can't stand to see others happy if they're not. She's my mother, I whispered. She's supposed to protect me. Sometimes the people who should love us the most hurt us the worst, he replied, squeezing my hand. Mom arrived the next morning with a teddy bear and forced smile. How's my baby feeling? I waited until she sat down. Why did you give me expired antibiotics when you had new ones? Her smile froze. What are you talking about? I gave you what we had. I showed her the photos on Darius's phone. Expired by 2 years, Mom. Aunt Janine told you they were dangerous. You've been snooping through my texts? Her voice rose sharply. That's an invasion of privacy. You put me in the hospital, I said quietly. During prom, while you were at a casino with Steve. It's not what you think, she paced the small room. I forgot about the new prescription. Stop lying. The force of my voice surprised us both. Aunt Janine warned you. You had new medicine. You knew exactly what you were doing. You don't understand what it's like, she hissed, suddenly dropping the act. Ever since your father left, it's all about you. Your activities, your friends, your prom. When do I get to live? Why should I sit home alone while you're out with some boy? So you poisoned me? My voice shook. Don't be dramatic. I just needed 1 weekend. I knew you'd be fine eventually. Fine eventually? I have an abscess that could have spread to my brain. The doctor said I could have died. I would have gotten you help before that happened, she insisted, looking less certain. Like you did when my fever hit 103? Oh, wait. You were too busy packing for your trip. You're twisting everything. I've sacrificed everything for you. Including my health? My safety? Mom, what you did wasn't just mean. It was criminal. Her eyes widened. Criminal? Don't be ridiculous. What would you call knowingly giving someone harmful medicine and hiding the real medicine? If you did this to a stranger, you'd be arrested. I'm your mother, she shouted. I have the right to decide what's best for you. Not when it puts my life at risk, I countered, my voice breaking. Dr. Weiss walked in, stopping abruptly. Everything okay in here? Mom's face transformed instantly. Just a little mother-daughter disagreement. Nothing serious. Actually, I said, I'd like to speak to Dr. Weiss alone. And I need to call Aunt Janine. Aaliyah, don't blow this out of proportion, Mom warned, her voice lowering to a threatening whisper. You deliberately made me sicker, I said. You knew the medicine was expired. You hid the good medicine. I could have died from this abscess. I'm your mother. Everything I do is for your own good. Not this time, I said firmly. Please leave. Her face contorted. You ungrateful little… Mrs. Thompson, Dr. Weiss interrupted. I think it would be best if you stepped out. You can't keep me from my daughter, Mom protested. Actually, Dr. Weiss said calmly, if there's suspicion of medical neglect, we have protocols we must follow. Mom's face paled. Medical neglect? It was a simple mistake. Then you won't mind explaining that to our hospital social worker, Dr. Weiss replied. After she left, I told Dr. Weiss everything, my voice breaking repeatedly as I described finding the hidden prescription bottle and discovering Mom's planned weekend getaway. I don't want to go home with her, I whispered. Dr. Weiss nodded. We'll make sure you don't have to. Child Protective Services interviewed me the next day. You're 17, the caseworker, Miss Rivera, explained. Given the situation, you have options. What kind of options? I asked, feeling a strange mix of terror and relief. Temporary placement with a relative, for starters. Is there someone who could take you in while we investigate? My Aunt Janine in Ohio, I said immediately. She's my mom's sister. She warned Mom about the expired antibiotics. That's helpful information, Miss Rivera noted. We'll contact her. Aunt Janine arrived from Ohio that afternoon. I should have known something was wrong when she asked about those antibiotics, she said, hugging me carefully. You're coming home with me. Can I? Hope fluttered in my chest. Your mother committed medical neglect, possibly endangerment, Miss Rivera explained. We're investigating, but based on the evidence and your age, the court will likely approve temporary guardianship for your aunt while the case proceeds. Mom wasn't allowed to visit, but she texted constantly. I'm sorry you misunderstood. And later, you're tearing this family apart over nothing. Classic gaslighting, Zoe said when she visited. My therapist would have a field day. Do you think I'm overreacting? I asked her. Allie, she knowingly gave you medicine that made you sick enough to be hospitalized, then hid the real medicine that would have helped you. Also, she could go on a weekend trip with her boyfriend. That's not normal mom behavior. That's abuse. Marcus came the day I was discharged, awkwardly holding a corsage. Saved it for you, he mumbled. Maybe we can have our own prom someday? I'd like that, I said, feeling myself blush despite everything. I still can't believe your mom did this, he said, sitting in the chair beside my hospital bed. My mom is furious. She's telling everyone. Everyone? The whole prom committee knows. And their parents. Miss Reynolds, you know, the vice principal, she called to check on you. Said the school takes this kind of thing very seriously. I'm not trying to cause drama, I said. This isn't drama, Allie. This is your life. He took my hand carefully. You deserve better. 2 weeks later, I sat in Aunt Janine's sunny kitchen in Columbus, talking to my therapist, Dr. Chen, on video chat. It's normal to still feel conflicted, she said. She's your mother. I keep wondering if I should forgive her, I admitted. Some days I miss how things used to be. What you're missing is the relationship you deserve to have, not the one you actually had, Dr. Chen replied gently. Forgiveness is your choice, on your timeline. But boundaries are non-negotiable. Your safety comes first. The prosecutor called yesterday, I told her. They're considering charges for child endangerment. How does that make you feel? Guilty? Relieved? Scared? All of it? Later, Aunt Janine and I curled up on her couch with ice cream. You know, she said carefully, your mom grew up with parents who treated her the same way. That doesn't make it okay, I said. No, it doesn't. Breaking cycles takes courage. You're doing it now, by standing up for yourself. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. When are you coming home? This has gone on long enough. I showed Aunt Janine. What do you want to do? She asked. I'm not ready to talk to her, I said. Maybe someday with supervision, but not now. That's perfectly valid, she said, squeezing my hand. You know, when I told Mom I was filing for temporary guardianship, she said I was stealing you from her, as if you're property. What did you tell her? That you're a person, not a possession, and that sometimes the most loving thing we can do as parents is admit when we've failed our children. That night, I video chatted with Zoe and Marcus. How's Ohio? Zoe asked. Different, I said, but I feel safer. The school approved your remote learning for the rest of the semester, Marcus said. And Miss Rivera said your mom has to begin counseling before supervised visits. The judge denied her petition to force you to come back, Zoe added. My mom heard from Mrs. Davis, who was at the courthouse. I still can't believe she did this, Zoe said. Me neither, but I'm learning it says more about her than me. After we hung up, I sat looking at the stars through Aunt Janine's kitchen window. The betrayal still ached, but for the first time since that ambulance ride, I could breathe without pain. You going to be okay? Aunt Janine asked, bringing me a mug of tea. I think so, I said. It's weird, but part of me feels free. That's what happens when you start putting yourself first after years of putting someone else first, she said. It feels foreign, but it's right. Do you think she'll ever change? I asked. I don't know, honey. But what I do know is that you can't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm, not even your mother. I wasn't just surviving now. I was reclaiming my life, one honest conversation at a time. And despite everything, I felt stronger than I ever had before. Have you ever had to create boundaries with someone who was supposed to protect you? It's one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also the most necessary.